You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new. I'm your host, Randy Perham. Happy Friday, RED Friday, Red Friday. This is a day where we salute our men and women that are serving our nation around the world, away from home, around the nation even, away from home, and making the sacrifices and commitments that they do every day, protecting our freedoms, protecting what it is that we do, stupid or not. So once again, we salute you and we thank you for what you're doing in protecting us and all that good stuff. So we have a jam-packed day today, folks. I want to first off actually also apologize for Monday's missed show because I did have a sudden appointment I had to take my daughter to. So, and yeah, that was kind of like the last minute thing. But anyways, speaking of my daughter, she just started her own home-based business called Blues Boutique. You can check it out on her Facebook page. It's called Blues Boutique, and get to support her and check out the women's clothes that she's promoting and everything else. So yeah, like I was saying, it's a jam-packed show today. So we're gonna pretty much jump right into it here. There is some things that transpired this week that we're going to talk about because I've been getting text messages and phone calls all week, even up to about 30 minutes ago. Good buddy of mine called me and was like, "Hey, I need to know what's going on with this." And so I said, "Tune into the show." And for those that we're actually live streaming also at the same time on Facebook. This is the first time I'm doing this simultaneously, and I see that it's working, but I know later on after the show. But anywho, like I said, we're gonna jump right into it. Check out the presser from last night. This was pretty interesting. We're gonna jump into that here in a second. Let me find it. I got like 35,000 things open here.
Good evening. My name is Tony Bobulinski. I served as a lieutenant in the United States Navy with high security clearance. My father and grandfather both served for decades in our country's armed forces. Since leaving the Navy, I've been involved in various successful businesses, both in this country and abroad. I'm making this statement to set the record straight about the involvement of the Biden family, Vice President Biden, his brother Jim Biden, and his son Hunter Biden in dealings with the Chinese. I have heard Joe Biden say that he's never discussed business with Hunter. That is false. I have firsthand knowledge about this because I directly dealt with the Biden family, including Joe Biden. I have also heard that Vice President Biden said on Tuesday that Senator Ron Johnson, the chair of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, should be ashamed for suggesting that Biden family sought to profit from their name. Well, here are the facts I know, and everything I'm saying is corroborated by emails, WhatsApp chats, agreements, documents, and other evidence. And the American people can judge for themselves. I brought, For record, 3 phones that spanned the years 2015 through 2018. These phones have never been held by anybody else besides myself. I was told this past Sunday by somebody who was also involved in this matter that if I went public this information, it would bury all of us, man. The Bidens included. I have no wish to bury anyone. I've never been political. The few contributions I have made have been to Democrats. But what I am is a patriot and a veteran. To protect my family name and my business reputation, I need to ensure that the true facts are out there. In late 2015, I was approached by James Gillier, whom I had known for many years, about joining him in a deal which he said would involve the Chinese state-owned enterprise CEFC China Energy and what he called one of the most prominent families in the United States. I was informed first by Gillier and then by Hunter Biden and by Rob Walker, who was working with the Bidens, that the Bidens wanted to form a new entity with CFC, which was to invest in infrastructure, real estate, and technology in the U.S. and around the world. And the entity would initially be capitalized with $10 million and then grow to billions of dollars of investment capital. After months of discussion, I agreed at Gillier and Hunter Biden's request to become CEO of the entity to be called Sinohawk. Sino representing the Chinese side, Hawk representing Hunter Biden's brother Bo's favorite animal. And between February and May 2017, we exchanged numerous emails, documents, and WhatsApp messages concerning Sinohawk and its potential business. On May 2nd, 2017, the night before Joe Biden was to appear at the Milken Conference, I was introduced to Joe Biden by Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. At my approximately hour-long meeting with Joe that night, we discussed the Biden's history, the Biden's family business plans with the Chinese, with which he was plainly familiar, at least at a high level. After that meeting, I had numerous communications with Hunter, Walker, Gillier, and Jim Biden regarding the allocation of the equity ownership of Sinohawk. On May 13, 2017, I received an email concerning allocation of equity, which says 10% held by H for the big guy. In that email, there's no question that H stands for Hunter, big guy for his father, Joe Biden, and Jim for Jim Biden. In fact, Hunter often referred to his father as the big guy or my chairman. On numerous occasions, it was made clear to me that Joe Biden's involvement was not to be mentioned in writing, but only face-to-face. In fact, I was advised by Gillier and Walker that Hunter and Jim Biden were paranoid about keeping Joe Biden's involvement secret.
Folks, that clip is approximately 7.5 minutes long. I only played 5 minutes of it. So I want you to do your own research. I gave you the tidbits there. Coming straight from the horse's mouth of one of Hunter Biden's ex-associates, claiming to have been part of all of this that's been going down. And interestingly enough, the mainstream media is keeping a tight lid on this. They're like, yeah, we're not, no. We're not going to talk about this. We're not going to play this. We're not going to show this. We're just not. And that ought to be alarming to you, ladies and gentlemen. That ought to be alarming to you that the media is actively censoring out information that is critical not only to this election, but critical to exposing the corruption, the cronyism, and everything else that is going on in Washington, D.C. under the previous administration, perhaps even the previous 3 administrations. I'll go that far as to say that. But nonetheless, here it is. You have this guy, and God help him. He survives this, because we all know people end up coming up short. So I would highly just hope. And I just got a message here that my stream to Facebook has been cut off. Go figure. That's all right. We're still recording and we're live on TECNTV.com. And like I said, I'm still recording, so it'll be uploaded on Facebook. So those can go back and watch this later on and see what's going on. And folks, going talking about censorship. Facebook has been active, so as well as Twitter, in censoring out and not allowing certain information to filter out. Ever since I just started talking about this just now, my stream's going fine. All of a sudden, it gets cut off because I talked about Biden in them. Interesting. So, but anyways, speaking of Biden, Biden and crew, the debate, the debate last night. Ah man. Uh, actually, I'm gonna hold off on that. Let's go to commercial break because I actually want to spend some time on this. So we will come back after our short commercial break and talk about that. Talk about the debates last night. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, and stay tuned.
Listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
When Paul came to Mike and discussed Thrive, brought the opportunity to him, Mike had a light bulb go off immediately. He said, "This is it. This is our vehicle that is going to take us to our dreams." But I wasn't fully on board at first. Not that I thought anything was wrong with it, I wasn't ready to introduce my friends and family. I loved the product, I used the product, but even at that point, I was still in support mode, not promoter mode. It wasn't until my best friend called me about 11 months into us promoting Lavelle and said, "So your whole life is different. Do I have to pay you to try this?" And I said, "No, come over, grab a 3-day trial pack and give it a go." And she called me the next day and she was almost in tears. She said, "Why didn't you talk to me about this?" And my light bulb moment came at that point.
If you're looking to get veteran-owned blacksmithing work done, check out Old Emerald Coast Forge. Veteran-owned and operated out of Louisiana. You can go to the page Old Emerald Coast Forge. You can check them out on Instagram at Old Emerald Coast Forge. Veteran-owned and operated out of Louisiana. They custom make swords, knives, costume play outfits, furniture, jewelry, you name it. No task too tough for these guys. Check them out, Old Emerald Coast Forge, at Old Emerald Coast Forge on Facebook and on Instagram.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
All right, welcome back. Sorry about that. Got a lot going on here. Like I said today, folks, there's a lot to talk about. So the presidential debates. I know a lot. Like I said, a lot of people have been hitting me up trying to get my disposition on the matter. And folks, I will tell you, I took copious notes last night. Let me get the book out here. And immediately following the debates, was involved in a conference call. We had a post-presidential debate conference call last night with some friends, and we discussed it quite a bit in detail of things that transpired. But I will run the gamut here on not all of the topics, but a majority of it. And the first thing is the coronavirus was again the topic of discussion, and I believe the moderator or Joe Biden said the moderator, by the way, Christian, what's her name? Christian Walker, beautiful woman, did a great job. I will my hats off to you on that one. But one of them two, either she or Biden, brought up the fact that there was 16,000 people that have died since the last debate from the coronavirus. I didn't get a chance to fact check those numbers because I was like, that's a little off because that was like just 2 weeks ago. But okay, maybe so, maybe so. But overall, there's been 220 people that died contributed from the coronavirus, not of the coronavirus itself. And we already talked about that a couple weeks ago on this show. But more pointedly was the discussion of a vaccine coming in the next couple of weeks. President Trump said that there will be one on the horizon, and what at the moment of the debate, I don't think he was aware that the FDA did actually approve one of the vaccines. I didn't catch the name. I think it was a Rendasor, or something like that, something of that nature. Started with an R. That's all I know. But FDA did approve one of the vaccines last night, yesterday. So, I mean, the question surrounds going back to the vice presidential debate on to Kamala Harris. Senator Harris was asked, would she take a vaccine if it was one to become available, and she said, if the FDA approves it and not promoted by the administration, yes. Well, here you go. So she said she'll be the first in line. So I expect you to be the first in line to take this vaccine. Anyways, so uh, the moving on from the coronavirus, it was mentioned about the shutdown, they're shutting down the economy, and former Vice President Biden said something that was quite starkly pausing, saying that he would impose a national mandate to wear masks, and he would follow the science, and he would shut down the economy again. Go back and look at the records, folks. He said it last night, and it kind of everybody kind of just glossed over that, but I didn't because I was like, you're saying you're good with shutting down the economy again, and President Trump did kind of hit back and said, we have to be careful with tackling this problem because our solutions could potentially or will be potentially worse than the problem. And what he meant by that is the height of domestic violence, suicides, the job rate, tanking, the economy, tanking and everything else. People losing their jobs, can't pay their mortgage, can't pay their rent, can't pay. Oh, there's so many other implications, and the government can only write so many checks to the American people before that turns around and bites everyone in the butt. So it's yes, we have to get out there, open up the economy again, get out the house, get out the basement, get out the attic, and get back out there and get at it. We have to learn to live with the virus. It's just like we had to learn to live with the flu. We had to learn to live with chicken pox. I remember, hey, going back to when we were kids, if you're old enough to remember this, your parents, one kid in the neighborhood got the chicken pox. That was a chicken pox party for all the kids in the neighborhood. You're all playing together, and that's what essentially what this boils down to. So, I mean, it is what it is, folks. And with the spikes occurring across the world, we can't sit there and keep blaming Trump on the handling of the pandemic. He's handling the pandemic the best as he could with the resources and the limitations of the power of the presidency that he has in the United States. He can't control what's going on in the rest of the world, and with the travel and stuff kind of not being restricted as much. I mean, what do we really expect, folks? I mean, like, come on. So they talk about the Wall Street um, contributions and everything else, and the money that's being exchanged on Wall Street based on the elections and campaign contributions and everything else. And Biden said that the most money that a person has donated to him was $43. Go back and look at the record again, folks. I was like, that's why I wrote it down because I was like, what, 43? The most a person contributed to your campaign is $43. That doesn't even sound don't even pass the math test. But okay. And President Trump brought up a very good point as well. He said, I could easily pick up the phone and call people to get more money if I wanted to, and I'm sure he could. But we have to kind of examine this, folks. Here it is. You have one candidate that's talking about increasing taxes, talks about taxing the rich and making them pay their fair share and everything else. And yet the same people that fall into this very pool that he's talking about support him. They're like, yeah, Biden, yeah, yeah. I'm like, if you're talking to me and I'm rich, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not for the take no. Mm-mm. And 50 Cent came on record this week, and he said the same thing. He's like, I'm not supporting Biden tax plan, the 60% and everything else. I'm from New York. I live in New York and everything else. I'd be 20 cent fooling around with Biden. And so, I mean, it's just common sense. And then everybody else is like, talking about what Trump is doing as far as, helping out his buddies and everything else. But yet, these are the same buddies that he's helping. Some of them are against him. So, I mean, we gotta kind of like pull back the weeds a little bit and look at what's really going on here. Because it doesn't pass the common sense test. It just doesn't. But anyways, move right along. Like I said, a lot to cover today. Um, the China bank account. China's bank account with President Trump's China's Chinese bank account, folks. Don't play slow. Don't be disingenuous with this because we all know good and hell well that President Trump and his family has been doing business with China, with Russians, with everybody and their mama around the world for decades. So naturally, there will be a bank account in these said countries, and now the matter of how much money is in it and the taxes surrounding all of that. That's kind of like really immaterial, but we all know. So it's not a bombshell like, oh, this breaking news. There's a secret bank account in China under Trump's name. We are People already know this, and he even highlighted it. He said y'all already know this stuff. When I ran for president and when I started running for president and my taxes and everything else, everybody knows this stuff already. His ties are made in China, folks. I mean, like, come on, stop playing. My Trump hat I have hanging up in the closet. It says made in China. Like, come on, like seriously, let's stop being retarded. Election interference. So I kind of talked about this a little bit. I touched on this earlier in the week on my Facebook post, but the FBI and the Director of National Intelligence, Christopher Wray, and Ratcliffe, can't call his first name right now. Jack. Anyway, Ratcliffe and Wray, they they did a presser the other night discussing how Iran is interfering with the presidential elections and how they're set to try to make President Trump look bad. Now, I got into a kind of a back and forth with some folks because I said that Iran and Russia are working with the Democrats once again. People said, well, they're doing it on behalf of Trump because they're saying that the Proud Boys are sending the emails, and I'm like, are you slow? Seriously, like, are you slow? Naturally, a disinformation campaign to make it look like you're in favor of somebody by doing something that is in favor of somebody does not mean that you're in favor of that person. I should not have to explain this to grown people. Like, seriously. Yes, if I was Iran, I'm going to utilize somebody like the Proud Boys or the Klan or whatever else and send messages to people and say, you better vote for Trump or we're going to kill you because that person's going to turn around and say, President Trump's people are threatening to kill me if I don't vote for him. Oh my God. And so that makes him look bad. Duh. Move right along because, wow, I just can't. so, so Biden last night deflected a lot on the issues of foreign policy surrounding his ties with Hunter Biden and everything else. And so I played this clip here, and it all ties together. There's there's a lot to be answered for, ladies and gentlemen. When you have um, the former vice president and his family traveling with him to these different countries, and they're having these offset meetings and everything else. And we see the transcripts of emails and everything else, kind of detailing some of this stuff. We have a guy who has 3 cell phones with WhatsApp, text messages, emails, and everything else that he's carrying around, saying, "I'm going to get this to the FBI and the Senate." One of the Senate committees and the FBI are scheduling to meet with this guy today as we speak to go over this stuff. That says a lot. And when Biden said, can we get off that subject? Can we talk about, let's talk about China and let's talk about how Trump has, foreign investments and everything. No, guy. You want to talk about how things are, how we have to look at things from the perspective of your character. That's what we're doing. We're examining your character and how you are potentially compromised. We already know President Trump is somewhat compromised because he has business dealings and he has business investments and everything else with these countries. We already know this. We're taking that gamble because it's out there in the open and people have already accepted that. He went into office with this going on. You, on the other hand, you're doing this while you're in office and you're refusing to answer to these things that are now coming to light. There's a very big difference here with that. And so, um, getting off of that, healthcare. The healthcare subject, folks probably don't understand what it means for public option and how Biden tried to package that and push that. Public option, what that is saying is you're not going to have you as the end user, you're not going to have the option to select your doctor, select your plans and all that. Hell, no, the public option is government ran, and they tell you who you're going to have, where you're going to go, and everything else. And this is what President Trump was pushing back against. He was like, he said, no, it's still socialized medicine. No matter how you try to frame the wording around that, it's still socialized medicine, ladies and gentlemen. And now, if you want to have socialized medicine, you want, universal health care and all that, that's your cup of tea. You go right ahead. I covered this on the show months ago while we was living in Italy and back when we came back to the States about how socialized medicine actually works. You may get some form of good care, but in the long run, you're kind of like just thrown into this pool, this pot of people, and the doctors are going to go for what they know in hopes that you survive. Essentially, that's basically what it is. So the Trump administration has been working on trying to find ways to not only maintain pre-existing conditions, eliminating the mandate. For those that actually understand the mandate, you pay a penalty, a tax penalty. I believe the last numbers I looked at was like $3,500 if you don't have health insurance. Now, for somebody like me who rarely goes to the doctor unless I am forced to go, and although my stuff is covered through the government and everything else, military and all that good jazz. But if I was a civilian, I wouldn't go to the doctor as much. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't. So why pay this insurance premium on something that I'm not utilizing? I have this gripe about car insurance as well. I have this gripe about a lot of insurance packages. I just no. But if that's your cup of tea, then hey, more power to you. So the COVID relief package, we they got into that a little bit, and the Speaker of the House and them they said they're making headway now on actually producing something. But we seen a few months ago, back I believe it was March May window, so around there when the first relief package came out, how there was a lot of pork, non-essential stuff that was rolled up into this package, like 35 million to the Kennedy Art Center. Like, why does the Kennedy Art Center need money when they should be shut down because there's a pandemic going on? So it was those things that keep being caught up into the foil of these packages that the House is trying to push, or the Democrats are trying to push in the House, that the Senate is not biting on. Trump is like, no, I want more money, but not for those things. I want more money to go out to the people. The Senate is like, no, God, we ain't feeling that either. So there's a three-way deadlock that's going on with the coronavirus relief package that a lot of people are not understanding. And then it kind of like it rolled right into then the $15 minimum wage. And under Biden's administration, he said that he will impose a national mandate for $15 minimum wage to include for small businesses. Now, I posted a poll here today on my page talking about the $15 minimum wage and how that actually affects small business owners. Because I have a lot of friends that are small business owners and they're coming on, explaining how that would devastate them or how it has already had devastated them because they are under some implications of a higher wage increase for their workers. So, folks, we have to think about this. You're talking about imposing a $15 minimum wage even for small business. And I can see if you said for corporate level stuff. Okay, we can argue that too, but I would flex. I would flex a little bit more towards agreeing with you that if you work in those larger industries, that $15 would be reasonable. But you're talking mom and pop shops that they mom and pop themselves are barely paying themselves because they're trying to keep their business afloat. So they sacrifice that and they just skim off the top just enough to get by, and they reinvest their money back into their business and everything else. And now you want to throw into the mix giving their employees a higher pay and to maintain current operations. It's not sustainable, folks. And let's say we do implement a $15 minimum wage across the board, across America. Prices and item prices will skyrocket. We think things are expensive now. Things will skyrocket for real. And people won't be able to afford jack crap. And hey, I'm just letting you know. We already see it with people that do get raises and everything else in certain sectors, in certain economies, in certain areas. The money that they do get across and within their community, the prices of the end item prices go up because there is more money. There's more disposable income to be shelled out. So, hey, folks, it's just common sense. Now, another hot button issue that I've been having a debate with some folks this morning, early this morning. I've been up since 6 o'clock and having this discussion with some of my cousins and friends. The kids being separated at the border. There are 538 kids, give or take, that are not reunited with their families. I asked a simple question, ladies and gentlemen. I asked a simple question. Where are the parents at? They're asking about these kids. Never mind that there are 500 some odd kids sitting in cages or sitting in shelters or sitting wherever. They could be in a clubhouse. They could be at the YMCA. There's 500 of them. Never mind them. Where are the parents at saying, hey, if you see, little Pablo or little Ricky, please call me. I'm looking for him. Where are they at? No one's willing to really have that conversation and talk about that. Because why? Those 500 kids, and I'm surprised President Trump didn't talk about this last night. He didn't touch on it. He kind of did, but didn't go into detail. These 500 kids that are missing their parents, they was likely subjects of human traffickers. They were likely subjects of child abandonment. Just the other day, there was a story that broke, folks. Human traffickers dumped off 4 kids in a ravine at the border because they couldn't get through the border with the kids. I guess it was turned around. I guess they saw it was an obstacle greater than they thought it would be, and they was like, you know what, we finna ditch these kids and go on about our business. And I think they eventually got caught. I'm not sure. I didn't get into the whole story, but I just saw that little bit. But these are the things that people are refusing to talk about. They don't want to talk about these things because it makes Trump look good. That hey, this border wall is working. Hey, the separation of the kids at the border from parents, to verify, make sure that these are the right people, with their kids and everything else. We don't want to talk about these mitigative efforts. We don't talk about all the raids that's been happening across America the last few months, rescuing these kids that are being trafficked. We're not talking about that stuff. Why? Once again, it goes back to because it makes Trump look good. We can't have that. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm posing that question to you. Why is it that the parents, family members of these kids are not speaking up, saying, "Hey, those are my kids," or "Hey, 2 of them are mine. Can I get them back? Thanks." We're not talking about that. Where are they? Just throwing it out there, folks. Now, there was one rebuttal, and I'll be fair. saying that some of the parents are in prisons or in jail. Okay, why? They broke the law. You're not gonna go to jail if you're innocent. I just, well, you know what I mean. But if you're legitimately not doing anything wrong and you just like tried to seek asylum and everything else, and you was like just held up at the gate and you had paperwork and all that stuff, you're not gonna get arrested. They're gonna just turn you around and say go home or go back to where you came from, folks. So those that are in jail that may have had kids with them, that is a consequence because you broke the law and you got separated from your children. It is no different than if you are an actual U.S. citizen and you went through the same thing in America. If I'm sitting here smoking crack or doing crack and the police kicking in my door because they have a warrant because they were tipped off or whatever else, and I have children here, guess what's going to happen? My children are going to be they're going to get taken away, and I'm going to go to jail. This is no different. We're playing this sob story for folks down at the border coming across from Mexico, South America, and everything else, but we're not being realistic. We're being really disingenuous about the eaches of what's going on behind these things. And I just want folks to stop because you make yourself look stupid. Anyways, so moving right along. Vice President Joe Biden said also that he would impose a pathway to citizenship for the 11 million illegal immigrants to include the DACA children so they become citizens of America. Folks, right now in the United States, the Hispanic population is sitting around 17%. Okay. The African American population is sitting around 13%. So you have 43 million African Americans, and you have what is it, 60, 54, something like 56 in that window million Hispanics, Latinos, that conglomerate, that group, right? You add in another 11 plus million to the Hispanic population, that swells them up to roughly about 19%. Okay, is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. No, don't care. But the problem is, you're talking about, you're trying to pander, saying that we're going to legalize. If you're here in America, welcome. You're now a citizen. Legalizing 11 million people, of which you have to figure out not only where they are, but the resources and everything else, the logistics associated with these people. So we have to kind of be cautious about what we're talking about doing here. But once again, I digress. Moving right along, because I'm running out of time already. Jesus Christ. Race in America. I'm not even going to get into that conversation too much because the Vice President Biden said that he is recognized after 47 years, but okay. He recognizes that there is institutional racism in America. And President Trump responded back with, okay, there's racism everywhere, and there's a lot of things that are racist. Yes, and our administration is doing what we can to combat that. We're trying to get minority Americans onto the same playing field and opportunities and everything else, and what have you, with white Americans. And so, but more pointedly, Joe Biden said that he realizes that he made a mistake in the 90s pushing the crime bill, pushing this, and that, and the third. And Trump hit him back and said, well, you was just in office 4 years ago. Why didn't you do it? So everybody says, oh, he was just the vice president. He had nothing to do with that. Wrong, ladies and gentlemen, wrong. As the vice president of the United States, you were previously senator. You got friends. You have influence to change legislation. If you feel like you did something that was a bad boo boo, you have the influence, you have the power to say, you know what, hey, President, this will not only help you, but this will help me if you push this agenda or you push this legislation. And I'm gonna talk to the folks in the Senate, because guess what? Guess what the job is of the Vice President of the United States, ladies and gentlemen? He is the President of the Senate. Yes, yes. Newsflash. I know for some of you that don't know, you miss civics. Not to insult nobody's intelligence, but a lot of people don't know this, and that's okay. But the vice president of the United States is the president of the Senate. He has the power, he or she has the power to go to the Senate and dictate what they do. tie in the Senate, guess who goes in and breaks the tie? The vice president, usually siding with his party. So he had the power, and President Trump was right to call him out on this. You had the power. You was there. You could have fixed and changed all these things that you're now so-called advocating for 4 years ago. And now that you're running, you want to sell these wolf tickets to the American people that you're going to change this and you're sorry for that and you want to do this. You had this opportunity for 47 years. And President Trump said, this is why I ran against you. This is why I ran. Because y'all were doing a crappy job and I came in here to fix all this mess. So, but climate change, last point, climate change. $100 trillion or $6 trillion. However, the Green New Deal will cost because the numbers keep changing. But to retrofit houses, buildings, planting trees, removing or getting rid of over the next couple of years, literally the next couple of years, oil. I'm like, okay, I don't know how you're gonna do that, but all right, whatever. To make a cleaner environment and to get back into the Paris Climate Accord, folks. I think after he said all that, his numbers like tanked. I'm just saying, folks. We'll be right back. We're going to jump to our short commercial break.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Alexa, help me find the best in urban conservative news, talk, and movies. Okay, Alexa, we found it.
Do you like drinking coffee? Check out Black Rifle Coffee Company. Black Rifle Coffeecompany.com. You can get a variety of coffee of all assortments, tastes, blends, flavors, you name it. Black Rifle Coffee Company, veteran owned and operated out of Texas. Check them out. The link will be in the comment section immediately following the show for your 20% off when you become a subscriber. Black Rifle Coffee Company.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do have breaking news also in this hour. President Trump has co-brokered, I will say it like that. He has co-brokered a deal between Sudan and Israel to normalize trade agreements, peace agreements, and everything else over there in the Middle East. And so this is another historic landmark deal that the Trump administration has been able to put together. And folks, I will tell you, this is country number five. Number three under his administration since 1978, but country number five that's in the Middle East said, you know what? Let's stop the madness. Let's come together and work together, not only for economic prosperity, but for just genuine. Let's just try to get along. Everybody's different, got that. So let's just get along, make this money, trade with each other, travel to each other's countries. Get some little exposure outside of our neighborhoods and things of that nature. And the Trump administration has been catalyzing this these peace accords across the Middle East now since the beginning of last year or something like that. And so I think there are a few more countries on the list that the president talked about today to add to join this peace accord. And it's called the Abraham Accord for those that don't know what's going on with that. But this speaks volumes. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. How this is a critical turning point in the Middle East as far as foreign policy with the United States, because the United States is slowly pulling back while there's a coalition of countries coming together to help each other. And once that happens, Iran, Syria, Russia, even, they kind of will have to dial back a little bit their aggressiveness because now these coalition countries could strike back in overwhelming fierce numbers. So it is what it is. I congratulate the Trump administration on this groundbreaking deal. This is good news. It probably will earn him a fourth Nobel Peace Prize nomination here in the next few days or so. But more poignantly, the the um, the election this year has a significant number of African Americans running under the Republican ticket. Yes, you heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. 30, 30, 30 people, 30 black Americans are running under the Republican ticket for Congress. I never thought in my 25 years of being a Republican that I would live to see the day that such a paradigm shift in the ideology, the political ideology of black Americans, more pointedly, will shift the way that it has under this administration. In this lifetime, actually, just period. But it speaks volumes to the growth of African Americans saying, you know what, things that have been going on for the last 60 years under the Democratic Party have not been working for me, have not worked for my community, and I am now open to seeing change because we see the likes of Walter E. Williams, Thomas Sowell, um, gosh, there's so many, but more recently, Candace Owens, um, Larry Elder, and so on and so forth, that are Jason Whitlock. They're coming out to the open and say, look, guys, we've been doing this for years, for decades. Where have you been? Clarence Thomas. We've been doing this for decades. And you see where we at. What is your problem? Are you that stupid to where you can't open your so and it's not to say that they're stupid, but they've been conditioned. And so now there's been, like I said, it's this paradigm shift that's been unfolding across America where we have now 30 black Republicans on ballot. ladies and gentlemen, on ballot. Amazing. And I commend and wish them all the best of luck in their races. But it also speaks to something else. We could potentially see the eradication of the term coon and Uncle Tom, because there's now starting to be a balanced, in a sense, mixture of political ideologies coming out of the black community. We all know that there is a 93% voting pattern block for African Americans for Democrats. But if you shave that 93% and you push it over to, say, it drops down to 60%, 50%, now there's a balance. Just like the other ethnic groups in America, there is a balance. Everybody else is even even keel across the board. Black Americans are the only ones that vote at a 90% rate for one party. Everybody else is even spread, has an even spread to them. So once we see that, you're gonna be hard pressed, unless you just want to be an asshole and pardon my French, but you want to be an asshole about it and you want to just call somebody an Uncle Tom or a coon or whatever else because you lost an argument. You're gonna be hard pressed to sit there and say that to somebody with a straight face, anyways, and actually, say, "Well, you're voting against us, and you don't have our best interests in heart, so you're a coon." No, I have our best interests at heart. I just have a different way of going about doing it. So hey, it is what it is. But folks, we are down to 10 days left for the election. 10 days, and I would tell you, people are still being disingenuous about the issues and the policies that are on the line here. They really are, and I say that because we see all these bombshell news coming out about the campaign, about the Biden campaign. We see now that Kamala Harris, Senator Harris, has been somewhat implicated in this exchange of money and everything else. I'm not sure how true that part is, but it's not far fetched. And so, but we see this stuff, and people are still turning a blind eye and saying, "Oh, anybody but Trump, vote blue no matter who." We're still being disingenuous about it, and it's going to turn around. And November 3rd at 9 p.m., I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to laugh so hard that I might have to get committed because I'm gonna be laughing so hard, and I'm gonna go Facebook Live, laughing hard when that 270 mark is ticked under President Donald Trump, because that is what it looks like is gonna happen. But folks, it is what it is. I just ask that you do your research, do your homework. And I had to tell somebody, I think it was yesterday, day before yesterday, if you're trying to pitch to me a news source that broke the news as the source without looking at other independent organizations that's telling the same story, then that story is likely not true, or it's fabricated to some degree, or it's manipulated to make it look like something that it's not. Do your research, folks. Independent research. If I get something from Fox News, from CNN, from NPR, from BBC, from Al Jazeera, you best to rest assured that I'm gonna look at other websites or other agencies and weed through the BS to get the story. If there's other ones that reported on it, if that is the sole source, like the Atlantic with a veteran story a few weeks ago, if that's the sole source that's reporting on this, to 9 times out of 10 is some kind of biased concoction that's being thrown out there. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't make this stuff up. And if I could, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. I'd be making me some money making stuff up. Folks, please, if you want to support me, the show, this program, check out The New You, Now Equipped with Wisdom, some book on Amazon, ebook format, Kindle format. You can cash at me, $ RPURHAM 4, the number 4, US, us, on Cash App and on PayPal, RPurim4US on PayPal as well. You can follow me on Twitter at RPurim. I'm on Parlor, R Perham, Instagram, the only Randy Perham on Instagram, not Starter 4140 and these other ones that they're recreating my profile with my actual name to throw people off. So no, I am the only R Perham. No numbers or no letters extra out there on social media. And you'll know it's me because when you inbox me, I will respond back to you, say, yes, this is me, whatever else. And we might not have another conversation after that, but that's okay. But no, you can check me out there on the different platforms because Facebook is censoring us. And so we're slowly migrating away. There's MeWe, Rumble outside of YouTube. There is Rumble, so the show will be uploaded on both YouTube and on Rumble. And yeah, I think that covers it all. I think I got everything. Also, if you're looking to get your health, in check and order and everything else, you can check out the Thrive Experience, randyperham.le-vel.com, randyperham.le-vel.com. And all that stuff will be in the comments on both YouTube and on Parlors. I mean, on YouTube and on Rumble. So it was great. I want you all to have a fantastic Friday, a great weekend, and we will talk to you all on Monday, God willing. And God bless you, and have a good one.
Listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.